Yo,
Here we fucking go.
somebody in the comments told me about this guy called Rios. He has a video called Bodybuilders Are Mentally Ill, which is the video that I'm going to review today. That's interesting because that's what I always say.
Bodybuilders are mentally ill. No, I'm not joking. I'm being deadly serious.
I'm also serious when I say that, especially the ones that are on drugs. They most definitely have some kind of mental issues. It has to be like that.
Statement I've made before, which offended some lazy-ass, soft-ass bodybuilders. But why though? Well, it's because the lies don't hurt, the truth does.
That's very true. If you're 6 feet tall, for example, and somebody calls you a midget, they call you short, then you will of course brush it off, you will laugh about it, you will not cry about it. But if you're 5'4" and somebody calls you a midget or short, then you will be very offended by it, simply because the truth hurts. You don't want to hear that. And these are actually, funnily enough, the guys who end up going to the gym because they want to look bigger, but they cannot actually naturally look bigger, as in taller.
Someone told me I look stupid because I have blue hair. I wouldn't care because it's a lie. My message that
Yes, exactly. It's a very good point. People get offended by the truth. You should always keep that in mind. If somebody gets offended by what you say, then you know why.
bodybuilders are mentally ill is offensive because it's the truth. You can call me rude, but you can't.
Yes, exactly. I actually made a short about this a while ago because I noticed that bodybuilders react the same way as vegans when you tell them that bodybuilding is unhealthy. Vegans also don't want to hear that you need to eat meat to be healthy, the same way bodybuilders cannot stand the truth. They act really similar to vegans when you in any way criticize bodybuilding. If you're secure about your life choices and you think that bodybuilding is good for you, then why do you care if I make videos about it being unhealthy? You would just laugh about it if it was the truth that it's healthy for
We do laugh about it.
you, but you know that it isn't. You hate hearing the truth.
Call me wrong. I'd say it's a statement that defines my channel. If you look at the comments of people who have problems with my message and my content, people never critique what I said unless they're stupid. They critique how I said it, which is fair, right? You can say that. I do deliver my message a certain way, which will invoke.
It's actually very similar to me. For example, I've been asking for a health benefit of exercising for over a year now.
Less mortality, lower rates of diabetes, heart disease, lower blood pressure, prevention of sarcopenia, prevention of neurodegenerative diseases. There you go.
And nobody has been able to give me one example. But what they would do instead is try to ridicule me for asking something like that, while at the same time not being able to actually provide one benefit. They don't realize how ridiculous they actually come off.
A negative reaction. If I have to be labeled as the most toxic fitness influencer to truly make fitness great again and make fitness about being fit again, then so be it. I'm okay with that. What truly makes bodybuilders mentally ill all comes from insecurity. It causes...
Yes, exactly. Of course, especially when you're on drugs, it has to come from insecurity because you're trying to change the way you look like for other people. That's it. What else is it?
Bodybuilders to approach...
Not necessarily. I mean, you could say this about literally anything. Like, anytime you're competing in a sport, you're trying to outdo other people. So you may be trying to get faster or stronger or more coordinated or bigger, whatever, so you can outdo somebody else. That is technically for somebody else, but ultimately it's for your benefit if you're interested in winning.
Fitness out of ego. And if you act out of ego, you're a loser. Which is also why I say bodybuilders are losers. And again, as harsh as it sounds,
I like this guy.
it's the truth. When I refer to bodybuilding, I'm not talking about athletic bodybuilding or trying to build muscle to look aesthetic and attractive to be healthy. In my last video, I went into depth on this particular subject. I'm talking about the pursuit of getting as big as possible and solely that. It doesn't matter if you do recreational or competitive bodybuilding.
Yes, exactly. If you want to get as big as possible, achieve an unnatural body, nobody in nature looks like anything even close to that, then you must be insecure. You must have mental issues. There cannot be any other reason, because there's no other possible reason why you would want to change your body to that extreme extent. It's usually guys who are shorter than average, or they believe that being average is also too short, depending on which country you live in. Sometimes it can be. And it's also possible that your face is unattractive. Over 90% of the time, it's going to be one or the other.
The desire to get as big as possible is only ego-driven. The only reason it makes sense to get as big as possible on the outside is when you feel super small on the inside. So getting...
Yes, another good.
Not necessarily. I mean, we could apply this to any sport. Oh, the only reason you want to be the best race car driver is because you feel small on the inside and inadequate. Oh, the only reason you want to be the best sprinter is because you feel like slow or weak or something on the inside. Like, you might just like being big. Why does it necessarily have to be from insecurity?
Good point. This guy is great. Of course, not only on the inside, as I said, you could also actually feel small, short, physically, because you actually are.
Absolutely massive gives you some type of security, explained by the prevalence of steroids.
This guy Dylan actually came out admitting that he used steroids. I only found out about it recently. I reviewed 2 of his videos. People got mad because he lied to them. If you want to use steroids for whatever reason, not that I in any way recommend
Dylan McKnight is a fucking lying, clout-chasing dickhead.
it, then at least be open about it.
Steroids in the bodybuilding community for people who don't even compete. In this case, I'm gonna be a bodybuilder's therapist, and the first thing I must tell them is how stupid what you're doing is. Getting bigger to feel comfortable in your own skin would be good and great if it genuinely wasn't ruining your mind. Fitness is now full of gym cells who make the gym their entire life. It actually reminds me of the hardcore gamers like I was before I found the right kind of fitness, aka athletic bodybuilding, where all I could think about was gaming. They can only think about lifting weights in the gym, and they make it their whole personality.
Gamers and bodybuilders are actually very similar. A lot of bodybuilders are gamers,
Can you turn
or
the
at
light
least
off?
ex-gamers. They obsess over gaming, bodybuilding, or anything. They get addicted to something because they are not happy with their life.
Fitness and going to the gym is just about creating opportunities to do more things and get better at the
know.
things that matter to you. When you're addicted to video games, your mind and low-key your life are geared toward improving at that game. But once you've sunk months, maybe years at that game and have reached the pinnacle, what do you have to show for it? All you ultimately did was
Are they only...
work hard and achieve something that, from an overall life view, means nothing. That's bodybuilding. You're building
Ninja is like a mega millionaire? Doesn't he have a net worth of like 400 million? And then he shows a photo of Ninja calling him a loser?
view means nothing.
Like, if you're gonna criticize gamers, why would you use a photo of Ninja? Why wouldn't you just find some like random fat retard online?
That's bodybuilding. You're building muscle and honestly fake strength for nothing.
Yes, exactly. They believe that they are doing it.
Fake strength. I don't know how strength can be fake. Strength is like just an objective way of measuring performance. You either can or cannot lift a certain amount of weight. What does he mean, fake strength?
For themselves. There's a large part of them who are that severely delusional. In reality, of course, you only do bodybuilding for 2 reasons. You want to look different, which you believe is better, which it isn't, for other people, and because you believe that it's healthy, or that it even prolongs your lifespan, when in reality, of course, it's incredibly unhealthy, and it has been proven over and over again that it very severely shortens your lifespan. If bodybuilders would realize this, Tomorrow, 99% of people would quit bodybuilding. If they would realize that they only do bodybuilding for other people, never for themselves, and that it's very, very unhealthy. Why would you do it? Why would you destroy yourself? People only do it because they get lied to that it's good for them.
Nothing worsens your health, performance, and aesthetics.
Oh wow, he even realizes that it worsens your health. Interesting. I don't know what he's talking about exactly because he works out himself. Is he talking about the drugs or about compulsive working out?
Which also means it's worsening your life. It sounds dramatic, but
yeah, this guy, I reviewed him. He's pretty depressed. He's lost.
it really isn't. It worsens your health as adding muscle with little to no performance benefits is going to reduce your stability, balance, and functional strength, which will lead to higher injury risks. Bodybuilding worsens your performance.
Yes, and your joints, your bones also become misaligned. I've seen this a million times. These guys need to go to a chiropractor monthly just to try to align their bones again. And of course it doesn't work, which is why they go to the chiropractor over and over again.
Because when you train with the priority of muscles over movements, the strength you gain doesn't transfer well. And it worsens your aesthetics and attractiveness as the research and surveys.
What did women say our results? Most attractive body types, skinny, built.
I don't know what any of these technically mean.
Lean, athletic, right. I suppose kind of like you naturally would be, right? Skinny is obviously not attractive because skinny probably implies looking malnourished.
Which I show quite often, show bodybuilders are quite unattractive. And if you're a bodybuilder who wants to neglect these surveys and research, just go look at your own personal life experience. And once you get over your coke fest, you'll realize that the bodybuilding physique isn't attractive to women.
Y'all like bodybuilders?
Bodybuilders? I like skinny, scrawny guys.
How about multimillionaires? How about 8 inches and thick? How about talented? How about loving and respectful?
It's not just about your ego and your feeling of security, although that does matter to at least some degree. It's about making your life better. I owe everything I have in my life, even my YouTube channel, to fitness. I also owe my self-confidence, my health now and in the future, all the experiences and opportunities I've had, and my multiple girlfriends. When I was a skinny 18-year-old skinny fat kid, I approached my insecurity.
Yeah, being skinny fat is also abnormal. That's also not how anybody looks like in nature.
Head on.
If you look at any tribes people, they do not have much muscle and they tend to be a little bit chubby. Dodo.
By approaching fitness the right way. If I try to hide from my insecurities through bodybuilding, it's scary to think of the loser I'd be. Losers hide from anything tough. That's why bodybuilders don't do any kind of martial art. For those of you who actually do...
Doing martial arts doesn't mean that...
I mean, I think Flex Wheeler did karate. I know Mike Israetel does jiu-jitsu. I'm sure there are some bodybuilders who do other martial arts like wrestling or kickboxing or whatever.
That you're tough. If anything, it means that you're a slave because you're risking injuring yourself just to prove something to other people. You do these fights only because of other people who are around you. You don't do fights against somebody in a room where there's only the two of you because you need somebody to watch you. It's very similar to bodybuilding in that sense because again, you only do it for other people. Nobody's gonna risk injuring themselves if somebody is not watching them. That's what all of these Hollywood movies also always promote. That's why you have boxing rings with tons of people around you. There's photos being taken of you, the media reports about you. In nature, you only fight out of necessity. And this guy...
That is not true.
...would be able to win against any drugged up bodybuilder. Me too. I would 100% of the time win every fight ever against, you name it, any drugged up bodybuilder out there. Sam Self.
Spherage is actually fucking, like, just completely delusional. By the way, what's funny is, I challenged Spherage to a fight, and he said he wouldn't fight me because I would win. So... he knows he'd get his ass kicked. He knows that. He's just saying this because he's a narcissist and his narcissistic brain can't handle that somebody's better than him.
Alex, Sebam, 100% of the time, a million times over, just always, because there's just absolutely no way that they would ever even be able to reach me. It's just impossible, literally. It's
You are weak, slow, untrained, and they're twice your size.
physically possible for them to even get to me. That fight would be done with it.
Like, is he literally saying he'd just run away faster than they can, like, catch up to him?
In minutes at most.
MMA? When was the last time you saw a bodybuilder in there? Pretty much never. Yet bodybuilders always talk
fucktard.
about, oh, if it was in a street fight, I'd whoop your ass. The conversation of street fights is so childish, it's unbelievable. I go to MMA 3 times a week. You think I like going? No, I don't. I can just chill at my house,
Yeah, of course you don't, because it's exercise. Nobody wants to exert themselves. Nobody wants to stress. And there's way better ways to protect yourself. Does he live in the US? If so, you can easily protect yourself. You don't need any of that.
you play some FIFA or something. But no, I go to a gym to get hit in the face. So why do I go? I go because quite honestly, I'm
Getting hit in the face is a bad idea because it affects your brain.
not a pussy. MMA is a way you approach fear, anxiety, discomfort, and yes, insecurity head on. I go to MMA multiple times a week because of its mental benefit.
It's contradictory what he's saying. It's all really the same as going to the gym at the end of the day.
Weightlifting or athletic bodybuilding is my way of improving my physical health, while MMA is my way of improving my mental health. Because you cannot be mentally healthy if you're not mentally tough. With MMA, nothing is more intimidating.
I think that what he means by being mentally tough is being ready to be attacked, being adapted to the stress of being hit, which is super abnormal, obviously, because in nature, if somebody would hit you, then I'm not gonna say it on YouTube, but there.
You'd clam up because you have absolutely no training and they'd kill you. The idea that tribes people never practiced warfare?
I'm in your Discord.
Response would be a lot different.
Than getting started, which is why most people never do. I'd say most people find going to the gym and weightlifting for the first time very intimidating, but imagine MMA. And that's what—
No, man, what you don't get is that your response to somebody hitting, kicking you is not the way a natural human being would respond to it. That's the whole problem here. All martial arts are for slaves because none of them respond the way a natural human being would respond to it. You're simply learning how you as a slave in the slave society will respond to somebody attacking you instead of listening to your actual instinct.
Well, on the flip side, after I've done a heavy deadlift, I'm literally sitting down after my set, contemplating life. And the timer's going down, and I wish I had—
All that you do by doing deadlifts is kill the cells in your body, create a lot of stress, skyrocket your cortisol, adrenaline. It's only bad for your body. You're just adapting your body to lifting heavy metal off the ground. Zero benefits.
Being big is a flex because you're literally walking around with the results that you had to earn, and it can't just be given to you. You can't just be given years of hard workouts, right? It's not like driving a fancy car or wearing fancy.
But the main reason he looks like that is because of the drugs. It's not hot.
not earned, which creates mental problems alluding to the title of this video, like Alan Ubelt or Alex Eubank. I already know what to hear. Oh, Mario, you're jealous because he's natural. You don't have the testosterone levels of a castrated male as a natural, nor do you have this nasty of a case of body dysmorphia. I can't speak for everyone here, but as a natural lifter, I've never had body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia isn't the case of wanting a better—
Anybody can have body dysmorphia. Anorexia is a form of body dysmorphia. It's not triggered by drug use. And by the way, body dysmorphia is diagnosed by confirming they have a delusional perspective of what they look like. So, if you took a bodybuilder or an anorexic person, what have you, if you were to show them photos of themselves, they would say, oh, I'm skinny or I'm fat. But if you show images of people who look exactly like them, they'll say, oh, that guy's huge, or oh, that girl's way too thin. So you're confirming that they actually don't know what they look like. That's how body dysmorphia is diagnosed. Just because you have an insecurity of what you look like, that doesn't mean you have body dysmorphic disorder. And again, just about everybody has some form of insecurity of what they look like. I wish I didn't have love handles. I wish I had abs. Wish I was taller. You know, all of this. If we're going to define body dysmorphia as just being insecure, then literally everybody has body dysmorphic disorder. It's also not related to steroid use. Mario Rios is just a fucking idiot.
Physique, because that would apply to all of us. Even at my leanest, best looking, most aesthetic physique, I wanted more. Body dysmorphia is when your mind deludes you into believing you look way worse than you actually do. Alex Eubank is
That is not what body dysmorphia is. Looks are subjective. Just because somebody else or most other people think you look beautiful, if you think you look ugly, that is not body dysmorphia. That is just a subjective preference for how you want to look. Again, that is not how body dysmorphia is diagnosed.
thirsted by meatheads in the bodybuilding industry. Well, I thirst over something like this, but we clearly have different preferences, which there's nothing wrong with that. In spite of all the praise he gets, he's on record saying things like, I'm not lean enough or I'm not big enough. This only happens when you didn't earn something. Take
Can we watch
my best friend Leon Edwards. His best looking, most aesthetic physique, I wanted more. Body dysmorphia is when your mind deludes you into believing you look way worse than you actually do. Alex Eubank is thirsted by
That is not what body dysmorphia is.
meatheads in the bodybuilding industry. Well, I thirst over something like this, but we clearly have different preferences, which there's nothing wrong with that. In spite of all the praise he gets, he's on record saying things like, I'm not lean enough or I'm not big enough. This only happens when you didn't earn something. Take my best friend Leon Edwards, for example. He worked endlessly for one goal, which is to be the best fighter in the world, the UFC champion. After 13 years, when he finally became that, he received the gold belt, and you could clearly see it meant so much to him. Even time after the event, he left his belt on his dining table at home so he could see it every day. But if you received the same belt, would you feel the same way? No, because...
Yeah, but come on, man. This is laughable. He's an absolute slave. He stressed his body immensely, aged his body, reduced his lifespan, injured himself just to have a stupid man-made belt that he can now look at home. It's literally...
Yeah, and he also made money, dumbass, which you can't do. You just have to beg for money.
Literally slavery. It's when slaves are not allowed to do anything that they want to do, and instead, also because they are insecure, they do these fights to get attention, mostly from other men, to then just have
Yeah, because it's not like they're fighting for money or anything, right?
a belt after all of the stress and injuries. They actually risk their lives, technically, because you can die in these sports. It's rare, but it happens. Just for a stupid belt and some...
When you take steroids...
They cannot possibly be called strong because they would lose any natural fight. As I said, it's absolutely impossible that any bodybuilder on earth would win a fight against me. Absolutely impossible. A million times over, a billion times over, I would always win because of how weak they are, because they don't have strength. And the way he defines strength...
What in the fuck does he mean by that?
is the correct way to define it. They believe that they are strong because they can lift a bunch of metal up and down. Okay, you go to a gym without...
Yes, that is the objective measure of strength. Lifting a weight up and down.
They're slaves, and then you all lift metal up and down. Does that make you strong? Not
Yes, it does.
by definition. And that's exactly why they would lose in a natural fight.
Strength, by definition, is the ability to produce force. If you weight train and get stronger and you can pick heavier weights off the ground, your ability to produce force increases. You sit around and do nothing all day.
But they don't get this because they don't understand how a natural fight even works. They don't understand anything about nature anyway. Obviously, they eat super unnatural food also. They're completely...
This is coming from a guy who has literally zero martial arts training. And he's a fighting expert now. Curious to know, tell others the